Go ahead, fire away.
Against the Commanders, you kicked it deep a couple times in the
Yeah,
second
later
half.
on we did, yeah.
Yeah, what was
I mean, we knew going in that, like I said, going into the game that they're number one on kickoff return, and then they didn't let us down on the first one. They had a big one there, and then we kicked to them again, and they got one out to the 35, and then we kicked to them again, and the ball went out of bounds at the one. Great kick by Butker, so that was a plus. But then the next time we kicked off, we're up by 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns or whatever it was, and then we just said, let's just kick the touchback here, and you got to respect teams that are hitting it on kick return. They were, and we're going to keep getting better as we go.
What's the frustration with the penalty? What's the frustration with the penalty?
It was bad. In a return game, we had 3 penalties. We had the penalties a couple weeks ago, and then we didn't have the penalties, and then we had the penalties again. So it's a sign of a young group. We got to keep working. We're working hard. We're trying to finish people, and we just got to learn, at the point of attack, when to finish and when to let off, and that's when the penalties come, is right at the point of attack. And I'm not mad at the how hard and the effort that the guys are giving, and we want to keep that going. But at the same time, you got to be smart. So we got to keep working.
Which is the wind stand out in this particular stadium in Buffalo?
It's every time we go, it's windy, it's rainy. It seems like every time. It's kind of weird that way. I don't know. I haven't really looked at the weather. I don't know what we're going to get, but it's always a factor. It seems like every time.
For your young players in those situations where you've had a couple calls and not had a couple calls, how hard is it to figure out what they're supposed to be doing? And are there different refereeing crews that call it differently, or if you're at the point of attack?
I'm not going to go there. I mean, it's just. I mean, when you go back and watch the tape, you see the penalty. You see what they saw. It wasn't like these calls are coming out of nowhere. I see what they're doing. I mean, I see what they see. And then you could coach off it. You could see where you could have did a better job, and that's all you keep doing. You keep pounding it, and we'll keep getting better at it.
Is it easier to hold maybe with this new kickoff than maybe the old one used to be?
There's holding on every return. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, there's holding on every return. I mean, you can go watch it. You'll see it. It's just a matter of how blatant it is, and that's really what it comes down to.
How much are you trying to get across to the guys in the meeting rooms that you're negating a lot of what Nico has trying to do in terms of getting positive yards?
We're better than what we are playing right now. I mean, because we're not getting those returns, on the board, and when we do, we're going to be where we should be, and that's we're just not there yet.
Couple more.
Did the kick that Harrison on the new?
No, he was trying to kick directionally. He showed a left kick, and we got the return was a little out of position, and it was a great kick. I mean, because anytime you have to run for it towards the sideline without being a kick out of bounds, I mean that's a perfect setup. And it bounced off his shoulder, and then once he touched the ball, it doesn't matter now. It's the fact that it went out of bounds was a plus. That went out at the 1, because if he muffed it and then it went into the end zone, and then he downed it, it would have been at the 20. So, we got a good bounce there.
We've talked about some of the dead kicks or whatever they're calling that. Some other people doing. Is Harrison working on anything?
Oh yeah. He does that a lot. He practices a lot. But it's kind of nerve-wracking in a game to really stress get it outside the red line, which is only 5 yards from the sideline. I mean, you got to aim at the numbers, and then have your margin of error in between, plus or minus, outside the numbers. That's what you're shooting for. In practice, I mean, with no pressure, he could dart him in there pretty good. But to do it in a game, that's all of a sudden you get one out of bounds like we had in a game, and then then you're looking like, why are you doing that? So
last Sunday, when you knew that one of your family members was going to be on the losing side, how did the rest of your family handle that?
I felt bad for him. I mean, he's 32 years old. He's a grown man, but he put a lot into that game. I know that. And then he was really wanting to come out the other end of it, and it went our way. And then you feel bad. You're hugging him at the end, and he's kind of down. You know exactly how he feels, and it's but I'm just proud of, where he's at right now, and we're both so fortunate to do what we do.
Last one's after.
Hey, Dave, Matt Ariza began his career at Buffalo. Can you speak to what he does for you since he came here?
You just reminded me about that. I mean, the last time we played Buffalo, he ran down. I don't know if you guys remember. He ran down there and made a tackle. I mean, he was like a nut. I'm gonna make sure he does. He pulls back a little bit, but yeah, it's special anytime you go back. I mean, they drafted him, and I know he's going to have some added pressure to do a great job. You got to keep your head on straight. So, I mean, once you remind me, I forgot what your question was, but I mean, I know Matt. It's going to be a big game for Matt.
What has he done since he arrived in Kansas City?
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's gotten a lot better. I mean, he's better with pooch punts. Obviously, you see that happening now. His directional, he can go right and left. Where before it was just really kind of one-dimensional, one way. Now, and he's doing a good job. I mean, we're not, we don't punt first. I mean, we haven't punted in the first quarter, second quarter, third, everything until the fourth quarter. So it's kind of special that he can stay ready, just kicking balls to a net basically, and then coming in off the bench cold and going out and giving us a good punt. And he's done that the last couple of weeks. So he's gotten a lot better.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bill's depth right here, huh? All right, I'm ready to go. Fire away. Sun's out.
What's the most difficult part of that for Josh?
Yeah, listen, I'm not sure. I was saying this morning because we're always talking about pass rush lane integrity. There are snaps on here where you can be perfect with that, and he still finds a way to get out. So hopefully the number of those snaps are minimal, and we can find a way either to get him the rushes throw, or if he does decide to scramble, get enough guys around there that the gain he has is minimal. But I think we can be perfect sometimes at what we're doing up front with all of that, even with 5 guys. I see it with 5, people commit 5 rushers, and he has just a real keen sense of finding that little seam. And if he gets past the 4 or 5 that you're bringing, now it's out, and that's where he's really dangerous.
How difficult is it to make the decision about whether you spy him or not spy him in certain situations?
Yeah, you got them all. You got, do you rush 4 and one of them's a spy? Do you turn 4 loose? Do you coordinate the pass rush? Do you go 5 rushes? Because there's technically 5 gaps there, rush lanes. I mean, in the past, and most teams do the same thing, you got to mix it up. We're not going to sit in one thing. But we're going to have a little bit of everything. Now, all that's great. But the only time you get to use all that is if you can get them in those down and distances. What I think they're doing a really good job of is dictating the game with their run game and the play action, and they're staying on schedule. There's not a lot of 3rd and 10s or 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s. It's because they're really good on 1st and 2nd down.
Steve, when you look back at the first half of the Commanders game compared to the second half, it seemed like in that first half there were a few plays when running backs get loose, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that miscommunication stuff that you guys cleaned up in the second half? What do you attribute that to?
You talking about the runs? I'm trying to.
No, I'm talking about running backs catching the ball.
Oh, there was one I remember that was just a missed assignment. there was one in there that was a linebacker safety communication thing. Those are two that stick out, but that's all it takes is two. And if there's one in each drive, they're down there. But they moved the ball pretty well. Where our guys did a nice job was in those critical situational downs. Those fourth down stops were huge. And then we kind of found our groove a little bit in the second half.
Has there been a thing where you found the groove in the second half?
Yeah, I would credit the coaches that go in there and at halftime, and we decide for a quick 2-3 minutes of what minimal changes we want to make, or what are they doing to us, what did they decide they were going to do, and the guys feed it to the players, and then a credit to the players that they take it and ride with it in the second half.
On that front, the game's changed. I mean, from when you got into, the 85 Bears, you could hold the team to 87 total yards and 3 points. Like, the idea of a shutout, I know you guys just got one, but it's kind of gone. It's like a little more basketball in your defense. You want to play it, but you have to acknowledge you're going to get beat because the offense is...
They'll hit a couple of hoops.
Yeah, so
sink a couple.
So have you had to change your philosophy? Was it like when you got into the game, was it the Bill Cowards of the world wanted 0 points?
Yeah.
Right? Now you got to acknowledge we're going to give up something, but...
There's a little bit of that. I mean, we have an objective chart unit-wise. Each game, the first one is win the game. The second one is points allowed. And then I think there's 9 or 10 categories that we researched that had the most to do with limiting points. And when we first started doing this years ago, when I was with Jim Johnson, the points allowed goal was 17. You felt like if you could keep a team under 17, you could win. I think the figure was like 85 or 88% or something. I'm not so sure that's changed now. That might be more in the 19. I haven't done the full research lately. Now, we've kept it at 17 as a goal because I just refuse to change it. I don't know, give up more points. But I think that your point is, it's really hard to get a shutout in this league, or 10 points. I mean, it's really hard because teams got real effective weapons. We know the rules have all changed a little bit. Kickoff where they get the ball a lot. It doesn't happen very often. It certainly always would be nice to get. To me, I always want to have one less point than they got. Now, I don't want it to be 45-44, but that is the goal.
Is it required to be more of a counterpuncher?
A little bit. I mean, we are always kind of. When the game's in the balance, I always say to the guys, when the game's in the balance, now it's just go out and stop every series and get the ball back to Patrick with the same score that we got it. Now, if it gets out of, then you change a little bit. Because to me, like last week's game, when it got to 2 possessions, we wanted to find a way to get the ball back to Patrick so he could get it to 3 possessions. That was the goal. So I guess not much has changed. You're not wanting to score, but I think a 3-possession game in the fourth quarter might change the way I call it. But until you get to that point, it probably doesn't.
How quickly can Mike Ball make an impact?
Well, the good thing about Mike is he was here before in this season, so I think it's probably an easier transition for him than going someplace else. So we're glad we got him. I mean, Mike's a fun guy to have around and a good football player, so we're happy about that.
Last 3 will start with one.
Steve, you referred earlier to the fourth down success the other night. It's been that way all season. I think basically the NFL and fourth down defense.
Do we have to talk about that? We have to bring that because this team we're getting ready to play is really good at converting fourth down. Yeah.
As I recall. But what kind of key? What are some of the elements that go into being a successful defense?
I would put that right back on the players because our guys do a really good job of being on point. They recognize the situation. We talk about fourth down on Tuesday. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We do that on Tuesday in our first meeting when we segue to the next team. And we research it, and the guys do a great job. Rod Wilson's involved in that, and no matter what you call, the guys got to execute it, and our guys have done a pretty good job of that.
Todd?
Make you knock wood again. You guys have done a nice job against some really good running backs. You got another one this week.
You're killing me.
What are the keys to trying to contain Cook?
Yeah, this is a real dynamic runner. We've faced a bunch of them already this season. This guy might be the tops of the crew. I think he's really. I'm always impressed with running backs that can make the jump cut. You know what I mean? At the line, behind the line of scrimmage, and you go, and he can do that. And he really. I showed 3 of them this morning. he can capture that edge. He can convince an edge defender he's going inside and boom, get outside on him, and that's where he's really dangerous because he's got really good speed. He can do it all. I mean, he's going to look to cut back on us. It looks to me like they really are trying to feature their run game, and they're doing a really good job of it.
Bill, with the Bills' passing offense, what kind of stood out to you on tape about them?
It's always about Josh and the way he extends him down. And look, I think this wide receiver group has been with him long enough that they know exactly what he's going to do. They find ways of getting open. I was watching the Baltimore game, and it was at the end of the half, and Josh extends it. There's very limited time, and number 10 finds a way to get in between two Baltimore defenders, and boom, right there they found a way to get 3 points at the end of the half. It's things like that they create all kinds of issues. No more talk about those other things that you guys brought up.
All right, go ahead.
Coach Nags, about a month ago, you told us and everyone Juwan Taylor's penalties must stop. It looks like he took that message hard.
Yeah, that's a credit to him. He's done a good job with that. We had to have that happen. He was playing really well. He's continuing to play well, but the penalties was what the black eye was for all of us to see in him. And he's such a great kid. He cares. He's a professional, and he took it to heart. And that's a credit to him to being able to be a true professional in that moment and help make us better by eliminating something. So credit to him.
The running back situation, if Isaiah can't go, does everybody just kind of bump up? Do you put more on Kareem? How do you handle that?
I think so. I think we'll kind of play that by ear, see how it goes health-wise with Pops, and let the beauty of our team, the depth that we have guys that are there, guys that can practice, guys that are ready. So just leave that, tell the guys, everybody be ready. When the time comes that we know what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, we'll have a plan. And I think that's the guys that are in that room, we trust in all of them. And then when the time comes, we just go ahead and roll with those guys.
I know you probably listen to the outside noise, but everybody, trade deadline, so everyone wants to talk about players and everyone wants to put a running back with you guys, but you're already over 1,000 yards, through 8 games. Do you get a little underrated in how you guys run the ball this year?
Probably. I mean, I really like where we're at right now. I love our guys in that room. I like the identity that we have as an offense, and that's above my pay grade with how that stuff rolls and what we do, but I just know that where we stand right now, we're very, very pleased with what we have.
What is your touchdowns game on non-first read plays, but also when Patrick Strain went on some of those, and what's impresses you about the way he's just able to keep his eyes down the field in those spots?
Well, for him, it's something he's always been good at. He's done it quite a bit in his career, and now I think it's the new guys that we have in this room, some of the newer players, making sure that they understand at all times you stay alive. We had a couple plays last week where, like you said, number one wasn't there. Number two sometimes wasn't there. One of his greatest strengths is being outside the pocket, and it goes back to college at Texas Tech. He was the same way. He was a major weapon outside the pocket. So now the other guys are taking advantage of that, and we're scoring some touchdowns from it. And we got a big play last week from Kels as well.
Now, when you watch this defense on tape, what is unique about them from some of the other defenses you've played?
The idea that they all play, they play within Coach McDermott and Coach Babbich's scheme that they have. They play it fast. They play it well. They do a good job. It's always a hostile environment. They're in Buffalo. They feed off of that with the crowd noise. So we want to make sure that with silent count we're good there. So part of that is being no self-inflicting wounds with penalties, pre-snap penalties. Schematically, they do a lot. They do a really good job in their zones, and then when they play man, they're super physical. They're sticky. They make you be good with releases. They make you win at the top of routes, and then they have good ball skills. So you kind of put all that together with an offense that's scoring points, and it makes it tough.
Jalen, those 3 games under his belt, and, maybe the watching game might have been the most difficult one. What have you seen from him so far? What's the kind of guide to him, or at least you're grading out on him right now?
Consistency. The moment's never too big. I go back to when we had that, right before the one game when everything went down with him having to go in there last minute. He never flinched. He never blinked. He came out in that game and he's kept it consistent this whole time. There's a couple things here or there, but with him, I'm just really proud of how he's handled the moment. He just wants to do his job. He wants to do his part, and I think to me that jumps out to somebody that doesn't look for it. He just comes in every day. He's a true pro, and he's doing well with it.
If Josh comes back, is it automatic that he steps into that job, or has Jalen made that a competition?
We haven't, that's, again, something that I have not even come across. That's with Coach and Veach. When that time comes, Josh is playing well too. So that the part that you like is that you got guys that are playing well, and then we just kind of work through all that other stuff.
You guys have done a really nice job on your offense. That you're one of 2 NFL teams that hasn't had a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver. What does it say about you?
That'd be for the fantasy people. You could ask them and see what they think. We like where we're at right now. The guys don't care about the stats. I mean, you look. I don't know the numbers, but the way that we're distributing the football right now to players, what they're doing, Everybody has a part in this, and nobody really cares about the numbers. We want to be efficient. I think we look at touchdown drives. We look at scoring drives. Be great situationally, red zone, third down, short yardage, fourth down. We're doing that right now. So all that other stuff is for everybody else.
How much fun has this been? I mean, you guys work hard every week, but to have the payoff this season, the way this offense is looking.
This has been a lot of fun. Just for me, the experiences that I've had in my career as a coach, this is up there at the top. The guys, and it's not, our record is our record. We've come together here after those first couple games, but the people that are doing it in this building together, it's everybody. And it makes you feel good when you drive in here to work every morning and you're excited about the moment to be with the guys, but you're not satisfied. And I think that's what's so powerful about this culture that we have right now, is that we're doing it and we're making sure that we're doing it together. No, there's not one selfish person on this team or coach. And when you win defensively, special teams, offense, coaches, the support, the fans, the city, like it's awesome. That's why we do what we do. So from the offensive side, I haven't really been a part of this before. It's a bunch of good guys playing good football.
You guys have been pretty aggressive on fourth down. Maybe not as aggressive sometimes on the road. How much is that a factor? Like where you're playing, you're going to be in front of a raucous crowd. You get a little...
Nah, man. I like what you just said with the aggressive, man. Yeah, you just used it twice in there, and we got to keep that going. So making sure we're aggressive is important. And I know we've talked about it all the time. We talk about it internally, but we have to stay that way. And if you don't get it, that's okay. At least everybody knows this is how we're going to do it, and we're going to go down this way. And then when you do get it, it's just contagious. So we want to keep that going. That's the positivity and the power of speaking it into existence.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Take care, Coach.
How are you doing?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Body is getting there, healthy.
You happy that Mike Pennell's back?
I'm super excited, man. That's how the universe works, man. You got to put it out there, put the energy out there, and eventually it comes back full circle.
What's the best part about having him back in the room?
Man, Mike, he brings a veteran presence. Good for the locker room. Great guy. Like one of my brothers. A lot of good things I could say about him. Just bring positive energy. I think that's something goes underrated in a football locker room. A good high energy guy that keeps everyone fun, happy, but also makes you remind the importance of how old and how gracious this game is.
The Bills' regular season in Buffalo, how much have you kind of grown to look forward to this matchup?
This is one of those matchups where this game could be a huge deciding factor of seeding for playoff. And it's always an exciting, competitive game, especially when you play a guy like Josh Allen, who can do so many things well, who's big, who's physical, but also fast. Also have a big arm that can make any throw, and he makes the guys around him better. So we know it's going to be a competitive matchup, and we always look forward to the challenge.
Steve mentioned Spags mentioned something just about how difficult it can be if you do stay in your rushing lanes against Josh Allen, but you still can make something happen. Just wondered if you could speak to the player, just the difficulty in the moment of that.
Yeah, because Josh Allen is big enough where he can break tackles, but he also fast enough where he can slither through. So been very, very, disciplined on your rush lanes and more so closing the pocket on him. I don't think there's a way of stopping Josh Allen, but there's definitely ways that we can find to slow him down or be effective towards him and getting an advantage on their offense.
Assuming that you stayed in contact with Pennell after training camp, how do you think he handled the disappointment of that?
Unfortunately, our contact kind of died off a little bit. Every now and then we'll contact each other. It's difficult when you're in the season and you're in the midst of things. And he's playing for a different team. I'm playing for the Chiefs. And, the day-to-day contact we have now is very easy because we're in the same position room. Our lockers are close by. So we're kind of forced to establish communication. When someone goes away, like a guy like Colin Sanders, every now and then we're able to talk, but as in the effective communication that we had while he was in the building kind of died off.
What was the level of your disappointment when you learned of that at that time?
I was very disappointed, but I understand that, Veach always has a plan, and, luckily we was able to bring my guy back.
Chris, we're all dying to know, since that Raiders game, did you ever get pasta?
I did get pasta. I did get pasta. Maria Spags, she's an amazing cook. Oh my God! If you guys ever had the chance or the opportunity to taste her homemade sauce, her gravy, because Italian is not sauce, it's gravy. If you ever have the opportunity to taste her gravy, OMG, she's serious in the kitchen. So I've been very nice to Spags lately. Me and him has been on one accord. My profanity have completely stopped, and I hope I continue to receive pasta.
Chris, when you think of those big game moments against Buffalo over the years, is there one that still fuels you heading into the matchup this weekend?
I think there's a lot of moments that we've created amongst the competitive game of against Buffalo, especially like we can go back to the 13-13 game where I sort of had doubt that I don't know if we're going to be able to get this in 13 seconds. We was being able to make it happen. Go back to a game in Buffalo where the field goal kicker missed the kick. It's a lot of moments like that. That's what makes this game so interesting because anytime we play Buffalo, we know it's going to be an exciting, competitive game until the end of the game. And that could be the deciding factor for the winner of the game, the last 2 minutes of the game. So we know it's going to be a high competitive spirit game, and it's a huge deciding factor for a lot of things going forward in this season.
Chris, when you go in a hostile environment like that, what kind of fuels you and kind of pushes you through some of those moments?
Well, first is about taking it in. I'm going to go to Bar Bill's, grab some wings. You got to accept the culture a little bit, understand the culture. And, the fans there are very, very in tune. They're very similar to Kansas City fans, but it's no place like Arrowhead. But very similar into the aspects of how in tune they is with the football team, as in cracking tables, jumping on tables, doing the rock, people's champs elbow on tables, and just the excitement they have for the Buffalo Bills. And we know it's a hostile environment. We know it's us against everybody. And, you know, for me, that's a motivational factor that I carry with me.
Directly said, you know, they don't like us. Is there a fun aspect to that, of going into something like that?
I think it's a fun but respectful aspect of, we don't like any team that comes in here. Sure don't like their fans, but we respect their fans to a certain extent, you know. And it's all competitive love and war, you know. When a team come here, it's not like we cheering for a team that comes here, whether it's the Raiders, the Washington, or better yet, Buffalo, the team beating us a couple times. So we don't like them either, but it's a respect level that we also have with it because of the game.
Chris, you guys have been really good on fourth down defense this year. Is that an attitude, approach? What do you owe that to?
I think it's a lot goes into that. I think the attitude, especially being aware that these teams are going for it more on fourth down, being prepared for it, being proactive throughout the week to just don't run off the field on third down, because if it's fourth and short, most likely these teams are going for it. It's a high chance. So we got a lot of good coaches who prepare us for these type of moments. We actually go through a situational in practice for these moments. And I think for us, it gives us the comfortability to, when fourth down approaches, we're like, it's another down for us. Let's go.
Last one, Alexa. Chris, last week during the press conference, you said that you grew up a hooper, and that you're all Stephen Curry now. Do you think he's the greatest point guard of all time?
Well, that's a biased statement because, well, you could take it as this, okay? I didn't grow up in the Magic Johnson era. But when you talk about greatest point guard of all time, Magic Johnson is one of the point guards who could play all positions, right? From center to point guard. I don't think that would be done again. But then you go as the greatest shooter and scorer as a point guard. I think, without a doubt, it's Stephen Curry. It's more so as a personal preference, how you view it. Another argument is like Jordan and Kobe. If Kobe did everything Jordan did, how is he not like the second greatest player of all time? To me, Kobe is number one. Y'all take care.
What song was that, Chris?
Let's go.